What does that sound, you ask?
From the number one station, you come.
Welcome to the Rec Show podcast, a show dedicated to beatmakers around the world. Kick back, relax with the host, Gldnmnd.
I can't believe this happened. I can't even. This is crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. It's crazy, and I can. What?
Yo, what up? What is going on, everybody? Gldnmnd here. Welcome back to another episode of the Rec Show podcast. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. This podcast is for beat makers, man, from around the world. And, I find amazing artists, amazing beat makers, make contact with them and ask them if they want to, can be on the show, tell their story, give some inspiration to other fellow beat makers from around the world, because everybody has a different story, and that's what we do on this show, all right? So I'm your host, Gldnmnd. I hope everybody's counting their blessings and not their problems. Yo, we on episode 60. Yo, we are on episode 060, man. Yo, everybody that participated and helped me get to this point, thank you. Every listener, thank you. Every sharer, thank you. You know what I mean? Anybody that's, even purchased any of my music on Bandcamp, thank you. If you streamed any of my music on your, DSPs, thank you. But anyway, we're gonna get into where we're going today. We are going all the way to a place, man. I don't think I've had a beatmaker come from here, so this will be the first time. We're going to the 651, all right? So we are going all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota, all right? Basically the Twin Cities, neighboring Minneapolis, man. I found, this amazing beat maker, man, producer, engineer. Like, the way he crafts his beats is amazing. His beat breakdowns, amazing. Man, like, I had to figure out, like, I had to hear from him. I had to figure out, like, what's he do, how's he do it, and he was graciously said yes. So that's who we're gonna listen to today, man. I want y'all to welcome the one and only Jomy, or Jomybeats, to the show. All right, give him a round of applause. We're gonna hear from him. We're gonna hear his music. We're gonna hear his story. Man, kick back, relax, enjoy the show. Throw this on when you getting in your car, driving somewhere to the store, on your long drives or your bike rides, getting on the bus, the train, the plane. You know what I mean? Going to the backyard, go ahead and smoke something, or drinking responsibly, of course. And we're gonna be back, man. This is gonna be a dope episode, man. So I appreciate y'all, man. We'll be back, man. Peace and love, yo.
Hey, how's it going? This is Jomybeats, man. Y'all tuned into the Rec Show podcast with Gldnmnd. So please stay tuned. We got a good interview coming for y'all. Thanks for listening.
Yo, what up? This Telly McLean.
Yo, this is Filth Spector.
This is Wave Groove from Beat Cinema.
Hey, what up? This is Super Duper.
What's up? This is U4.
Yo, this is Acclimated Assassin.
What's up? This is Liam Lizzy, Controllerized Representative.
Yo, this is Sample, and you're plugged into the Rec Show podcast with Gldnmnd.
Hearing beats from a slew of his Jomybeats discography, man. So, yo, if y'all don't, I'm gonna leave the link to the description to every single one of his link tree, but then also where you can find his music, support his music, stream his music, all that type of stuff. All right, so yo, I mean, you hearing beats from the album 64, you're hearing beats from Changes, you're gonna hear beats from Captain, Coffee Breaks Volume 1, and then the newly released Coffee Breaks Volume 2, which is, yo, man, crazy, yo. So, yo, man, let's get into this interview right away. Yeah, man, yo, so welcome to the show, Jomy. I always start off the show with just give me a little bit of like who you are, how you got your name, what your name means, and then we'll go into the rest of the questions. All right, so yeah, man, let's start with that, yo.
Hey everyone, my name is Jomy, or Jomybeats from St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm a producer / engineer. My name is a play in my initials. The search for a name to go by is kind of difficult and important to me, I guess, because for the most part, the name will stick with you and you want to build a reputation that you are proud of around it. Jomy felt personal while using it because of my initials, and also, short and easy for people to remember, so I kind of stuck with it. I've been making music since probably around 2006. I really started experimenting once I graduated from high school. Things picked up for me maybe around 2010, but I was just making beats for other people to use. After a while, I didn't really like how that was going, and I had a few personal things kind of throwing me off track. But then in 2018, I picked back up and I've been going full force ever since.
Amazing, man. Yo, there's nothing like the universe taking you a different route and things happening, man. So, yo, can I say this, man? Like, yo, you picking it back up in 2018 and me hearing your music, and I'm pretty sure when the listeners get done listening to this episode, they gonna go check out your music as well, man. Yo, you doing some amazing things with your music, man. So, yo, a fire albums that you putting out. But I did have a question, man. So, like, how did you begin your music journey? Like, how did you begin your journey into, you know, music composition and sampling and things like that? You know?
It really started with me messing around with old Windows audio programs like Acid Pro and Cool Edit. If I had a song I really liked and they had kind of that space at the end of the song, I would chop that up and loop it, play around with it, reverse it, maybe try to add drums to it. I really just tried to make it my own. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but now looking back at it, it all kind of makes sense. I'm honestly not like trained in piano or drums or anything like that. I can't read sheet music yet. At the beginning, I really did everything by ear. So if it sounded good, I kind of just went with that. But over time, I learned about, you know, key signatures and structure and things like that. So I really started to implement that into my creative process. Other than that, I pretty much just do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, man, doing what you want to do, what sounds good, what feels good to you when you're making music, man. That's what it's all about. And then you can throw in the structure of, you know, music and things like that. But here's the thing, man. Even though we all take from every beat maker, you know, we take some forms of music structure. Every single one of us is going to make it and flip it into our own, man. So, yeah, man. Thank you for that, yo. So, another question: Who in your family like put you on to, you know, different music, the incredible world of music? Like, you know, like what genres were you exposed to during, you know, your time growing up and times like that?
My brother definitely was one of the key people who opened the doors for me when it comes to music. I remember he came home to visit one time and he had this huge CD book with him. And I had a few CDs at the time that my mom bought me. I'll never name what they were, but I wasn't into them, so I didn't really listen to them. So he was like, yo, you know, listen to what I got in here. And I remember the first one I grabbed was like Rough Riders Volume 1. And I remember listening to them, like, yo, this is crazy. It was totally opposite of what my mom had got me. And I kind of fell in love with that. I think I might have taken a few out of there. And I kind of just went through his whole book, and I think there was like Tribe Called Quest in there. I know there was some DMX in there, I remember. There was a bunch of stuff. So that really kind of sparked my curiosity. And then I kind of started looking for rap hip-hop myself. And then I kind of, you know, ventured out. I think one of the first albums I bought myself was like the Hot Boys Guerrilla Warfare. I can't remember when that came out, but I remember that I bought that with my own money, and I was real hype about that. But yeah, so that type of music really kind of influenced my taste because, you know, I'm really big on people having their own sounds. And Rough Riders had a sound, and then, you know, Cash Money had a sound. So these things I'm starting to notice, and especially when I really started to make music myself, I refer to those, you know, later on because they kind of motivated me to really figure out what was working for me and stick to it and just improve on that particular sound that I was looking for. My fiance was the other person who really kind of had an impact on my exposure to music because being classically trained, it kind of opened my doors to like how they structure songs and how it's not always, you know, intro, verse, bridge, chorus. Like there's certain parts of those classical songs that never come back, or it just, you know, builds and they tell stories with their music, and that was something that really motivated me. So sometimes we'll sit down and we'll have conversations about the music or R&B or variations in song structure. You know, we could just kind of nerd out, and that really opened my mind and understanding to I can truly do whatever I want as long as there's certain things I got to keep in mind, being in key and things like that. But, you really can make your music any way that you want to. And knowing I had that freedom really opened a lot of doors for me. So I'm very appreciative of both of those people.
Amazing. Shout out to your moms, first of all, for getting you the CDs, even though you ain't listened to them. And then shout out to your brother who put you on. Everybody knows I'm a Rough Rider head, man. So, when that first album came out, man, oh my gosh, DMX came out, I was like, man, I was straight to the hardware store trying to get the dog chain. Oh my gosh, I was bugging out, man. But man, shout out to them. Shout out to your fiance as well. Having those discussions about music and actually, open your mind, different perspective, things like that. But then the one thing that you said that stuck out to me was freedom, man. The freedom to make your music, create your music the way you want it to, and that's what's most important, man. So yeah, shout out to you, man. So that leads me to my next question, which was, how did you know it was time for people to hear your beats, and what sparked your interest in trying to even create your own beats or music?
From the beginning, it was just fun to pick songs apart and rebuild them to my liking. It just got a little bit more serious and creative over time, which is what got me to where I am now. In 2018 is when I really got into being an artist and not just looking for rappers or placements. I realized I enjoyed listening to a lot of my work, but didn't just want it to sit on the hard drive, and get buried in there. So luckily things that were different at that point with streaming, and you could get your own music on platforms and things like that, put up your own projects. So that's when I really started to look into that and got into it. And I think since 2018, I've put out maybe 7 projects plus singles. So yeah, I've really developed a love for this type of music, and I'm pretty sure I'll be continuing to create it for, some time to come. For me, one that comes to mind at the moment is Pusha T, King Push, from his My Name Is My Name album. That beat is crazy. Like just the vocal samples in there, the drums. I love like when the beat has space in it, like a lot of reverb in it. It just, yeah, I love the vibe of that. I think Kanye did it with another producer. I'm not sure who that was, but man, that's definitely something that I go back to and listen to because I just love that beat.
Yeah, man, that is also a dope album by Pusha T. So yeah, when we did the research for that track that you named, King Push, it was executive produced by Kanye West, but then also, it was this whole thing about Joaquin Phoenix producing it with Kanye West, but that wasn't the case. Joaquin Phoenix actually pushed it along to Kanye West from Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich's son, who made the beat. So, yeah, yo, man, it's the drums, just the drum solo in the beginning, and then it goes into the beat. Amazing, man. So, shout out to Kanye West, Pusha T, and then Lars Ulrich's son as well, man. That's a dope track. Can you recommend some must-see, read, or listen to content from our listeners on their journey in beats and music? And keep in mind, man, it can be a movie, it can be a documentary, it can be a book, it can be a YouTube tutorial, it can be a podcast such as this, the Rec Show Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Shameless plug. Let me know what you think, man.
That's a tough one. YouTube is the best resource, I would say. If you're into sampling, definitely look up like Jay Dilla documentaries. I think a Tribe Called Quest had one where it broke down the Low End Theory album. I think that was that was really good now I think about it. So definitely look into that. There's also beat making tutorials. I find those interesting and informative, especially if you can find one with someone who uses your DAW of choice, because not only will they be telling you things, but if you're just watching them make a beat, sometimes you're learning things just from watching, just from observing, like what they're tweaking, like they get the sample in there, how do they clean it up, what effects do they use, where are those effects, because now you're seeing what the effect is and what it does. So those are definitely things to create a little playlist and put those videos in and kind of watch when you get a minute. Another thing is podcasts. So this right here, this is a great source of information because you're hearing from people who do what you do, and they're kind of giving their motivation, what they go to for inspiration, things like that. So when you hit those points in time where you got kind of producer's block, sometimes these are the things you need to get you out of that. So, I'm very grateful to be on a platform like this, with Gldnmnd, and also to have them available for producers like myself, just to know that there's other people who can relate to what I'm going through and the struggles I may have, and they may have tips and tricks to help me get out of that. So, yeah, definitely utilize your resources.
A very good tip. Go utilize your resources. YouTube University. There's a reason why they call it YouTube University, man. Anything that you would want to know how to do or, about is probably on YouTube, yo. So if you can get to YouTube, go ahead and utilize that, man. This podcast, that's what this is for also, man. So if, that's their whole premise around it, man. Like, beat makers have a different story. Everybody's not using the same DAW, computer, techniques, listening to the same thing, or reading the same thing, or watching the same thing. So, Like, it's just a different perspective. But this is also like a beat maker's documentary. Like, that was the brain, that was the seed. Like, when I was thinking about it, and then it came to me. Like, this is a beat maker's go-to tutorial if they're trying to be inspired and trying to get over beat block and all of that type of stuff, man, and come out on top, man, because that's what we're doing, man. We inspiring each other to make beautiful music, man, because music is the soundtrack to our lives. If y'all didn't know, man, and that's not my quote, that is actually the quote of Billy Blast, man, who's one of my my senseis over at machinemasters.com. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and check out machinemasters.com. That's how I started, man, and that's how I continue to learn as well. Just different people, man, different people. That's what it is, man. So, okay, enough about that. From your social media, I see you using like your SP404 SX, Ableton Push 2, sometimes a Machine MK3, but definitely like an a.k.a. MPC, just creating some beautiful music, man. Why do you think it's important for beat makers to learn multiple DAWs and gear? And then what other music equipment or DAWs do you use to craft your beats? Which pieces is most important to you?
I do think every DAW is pretty much the same. They just may have their own way of doing, certain things. But me, myself, I do prefer the workflow of Ableton. That's mainly what I use, aside from the MPC software that's on my Live 2. I think it's good actually to build confidence on one DAW because that helps you build speed and familiarity. After a while, if you want a sample to have a certain sound or effect, you'll know what you need to do and where you need to go to get that particular, audio effect if that's the case. So I think, watching videos, back again to the tutorials on these different DAWs, especially if you are, leaning towards using one more than all the others, any information you can get on how to use that to the best of your ability, definitely take advantage of that. Gear is another story. I do have a bad streak with gear before. I kind of learned from my mistakes. I don't need to buy everything because it's new. I feel like a lot of producers, when we start, that's kind of where our mind goes. So I'm happy to say I'm kind of out of that phase. At this point, I try to get gear that has an actual place in my workflow, meaning it has a specific purpose and function. So the SP404 is great for adding effects, and that will be handy when I do live shows, just like it is when I do my IG videos. And then I have the Chaos Pad or Chaos Pad. I'm not sure how you say that. But I got that specifically because it reminds me of the XY feature on my MPC. And I got frustrated trying to record that and export it into my sessions. So now I have that. And what I do is I run my SP404 through the Chaos Pad. And then that goes into my Mac. So if I want to add that effect on something, sometimes I'll just, upload the sample into the 404 and kind of loop it and then add effects to it. And then the take that I think has the best sound, that's the one that I keep. And then I'll use in whatever song I'm making at the point. And then, yeah, you didn't mention that push 2, man, that's my baby. I love the push 2. That's the GOAT to me. As far as MIDI controllers go, you can't beat a push 2. That's just, man, that thing's crazy. I have a lot of other smaller MIDI keyboards. I don't know why I have so many, but that goes back to me feeling like I had to buy everything. But yeah, that push 2, man, just the controls and things that you could do from it alone, it's perfect for me. I do, like you stated, I do have that machine, what is it, MK3, man, I can't use that thing. It's sitting on my floor. I've tried to use it a few times, and like I was on my laptop, it was like, you know, I was chopping up something and then the audio was crackling, and I can't wrap my head around that workflow. Like, I have to, like, honestly sit down with that and nothing else, because what happens is I'll sit down with it, I get frustrated after 10 minutes, and I'm back on my push. So I really gotta focus to learn that thing. But, you know, I got the one thing I do want to push on new producers is you don't need all the gear. You don't need it. You know, everybody's gonna go through that phase, but man, that thing is selling it back on eBay. You don't get all your money. Just trust me on that.
Yeah, man. Hey, y'all heard it here first. You don't need every piece of gear that comes out. You have something, you make the best of what you have. Make it dope, make it slap. And then when you can, go ahead and get that extra piece that will add to your sound. But you don't need every piece of gear, man. Jomy got the right idea, man. You don't need every piece of gear. I got killers right now that's making beats on a $4 app, $7 apps on their phones and iPads and stuff like that, man. So yeah, man, you don't need every piece of gear. So yeah, just be careful, man, because it can take you down a rabbit hole, and it's expensive to go ahead and get up out of it too. Like you said, you don't get your money back either when you're trying to sell it back. So yeah, it's like a car, man. You buy a car, as soon as you drive it off a lot, boom, it loses its value, you know? So it's kind of like the same with gear, except if you got like a PO, a teenage engineering PO, whatever that thing is, which it keeps going up in value for some strange reason. But anyway, yeah, man. So okay, here's my next question, man. You know, you love anime, but what are some dope anime that help you get in the mood with, you know, when you're crafting your beats, or what do you put on when you're crafting your beats? Any like animated TV shows, movies, things like that while you're cooking up, yo?
To be honest, like when I think of anime, I was kind of thinking about this. My main influence, honestly, I would say there is some animated shows like Archer or Rick and Morty or Midnight Gospel, probably. That's probably one of my favorite animated series, period. It was on Netflix. Midnight Gospel, that was crazy. Those influenced me, but my biggest influence as far as for the content that I put on my page and the animation that I kind of look for, I'll say it's influenced by video games. I love video games like Overwatch, Call of Duty, Battlefront 2. Like, that's kind of what I'm playing. If I got free time and I'm not making music, I'm probably on a video game doing something. So that kind of what influenced the content. The fact that, you know, with these games is the scene could be anywhere. You know, it could be on a planet, it could be in the desert, it could be wherever you want. And I like that I can bring that to my music. You know, it's not just a video of me sitting here playing drums. Like, I could sit here playing drums and all of a sudden an asteroid hit, or there's a UFO, or it's whatever I want it to be, whatever the illustrators want it to be, we can make that happen. And just like I have freedom with my music, I like that I can have freedom with the video too. And I'm not just limited by me being physically in the place and I'm physically in a music video. The fact that it's animated opens the doors so much more for me. And that's something I really enjoy. And I like bringing it to my audience as well. So one way that it does help me with my creative process, a lot of the times, especially when I'm on the MPC, I'll have kind of like a video game walkthrough playing in the background. So what it is literally somebody playing a video game either from start to finish or one take. Like some of those videos are like 5 hours. I'm like, bro, that's crazy. But it's from start to finish, or they'll just kind of break it up. And I'll kind of have those playing in the background, and I kind of watch it, and I don't know, part of it is because I want to watch the game to see if I actually wanted to buy it. But the other half is I do enjoy watching just the video games themselves. Like some of the stories are really good, the character development, the music in the background. Like a lot of the games I play, it's really like kind of orchestral in the background with the strings and all that stuff. And if you listen to my music, especially Coffee Breaks Volume 2, I had a lot of those same elements in my music. So yeah, it's very influential to me, and something that I'm probably gonna, keep in my music creating process going forward. So yeah, if anybody has any video game recommendations, definitely let me know, because I'm definitely looking for them all day.
Okay, so you're a gamer. Hey man, the soundtracks in these games is amazing too, man. So if y'all ever get the chance to listen to just the music that's in the games, do that, man. There's some amazing soundtracks in these games. So that's another idea, man. I know I think it's Oh No that uses video games. I know DiBiase uses samples from video games. There's quite a few people that sample using video games, and they make them slap too. So but you can get your ideas from anywhere, man. Video games, animated TV shows is just one of those additional ways to get your inspiration, all right?
Usually I have the music created before I have the art to go along with it, because it's typically the beat that sets the tone for me. So if the influence is music related and not from like a video game, then it will be like a sample that I find, or a particular instrument, or I love like Foley sounds. So it's like this random, like I had this one, I have a beat that I found somebody had recorded sounds from a dishwasher running. And I put some effects on it, chopped it up, turned it into some percussion, and I made a beat around that. So then I got stuck. I'm like, oh, let me look at these weird sounds. And, if you go to Splice and things like that, there's people who make kits like random household sounds. So then I got into that bag. So then I'm clicking around, making beats out of all that. Eventually, I'll get burnt out of that, and maybe something else will come my way, and now that's what I'm on, right? So when I move from maybe being influenced by the Foley sounds to another instrument, those are batches. So now all the Foley beats are in one batch. And then I move on to another one. So when an artist comes to me and asks for something, like, oh, I like beats that are reversed, or I like beats that are, have saxophone in it, I kind of already know, okay, I got this folder that has this in there that fits the sound he's looking for, so on and so forth. Or even with making an album, what I'll do is I kind of go in the batches and I'll just kind of pick the best ones. Now for Coffee Breaks Volume 1 and 2, those are very intentional. But for the other ones, it was pretty much just, my albums are experiments. These are the best ones I have. Let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And when it comes to my favorite decade to sample from, I think it was probably like the 70s. Because I know that Coffee Breaks Volume 1 had a lot of Japanese and Russian jazz. I prefer foreign samples off top. So finding those two types of music, it really kind of, I don't know, it sparked an interest for some reason. And I'm not messing with it now, but I know that once I get back into digging again, that's probably where I'm going to go. Honestly, I think the reason I stopped is because I burned through the sample resource that I had. Like I used up everything they had that I liked. So I figured I'd go back to composing and give them some time to re-up, and then I'm going to go back. So yeah, man, that jazz, you can't go wrong with jazz.
I agree. You definitely cannot go wrong with jazz. And yeah, man, when I'm like crafting beats myself, like I'm watching like, Sarah Too Ill, or I'm watching like Beat Cinema. I'm watching like all these different places where beat showcases happen, or people putting together stolen drums, crafting beats and stuff like that. It's on silent, but it's still like aesthetically pleasing to watch it, and then I'm just crafting the beats, you know what I mean, in the background. So yeah, I get it, man. So okay, so let me ask you this. Like the 4 pillars of hip hop are DJing, MCing, breaking, and graphing, right? Which element did you begin your journey with? And then, like how did it affect your life when you discovered it? Because, I have to ask, like, we telling stories, we historians, basically. So when people, like, dig this up later on, they gonna know, like, oh, okay, this thing called hip-hop. Oh, it had 4 elements? Oh, okay, it goes into a deeper rabbit hole, yo. So whatever aliens are gonna be listening to this, yo, y'all already know, yo. Bleep, blop, bleep. I'm really bugging out, yo.
MCing caught me first. I'll never do it again, but it did help me learn song structure and how to count bars, which is very helpful. It also helps me now because working with other artists, singers and rappers, I can understand what they're going through. Like, I know some of my producer friends, they'd be like, yo, I sent this dude a beat 3 months ago and he ain't, send nothing back to me. I ain't heard no beat yet, but I know how it goes. I know, just like me, they'll get a bunch of songs over some time and pick the best ones, and that's what's going on the album. So understanding that, you want some particular sounds for your album, like you might want some slow ones, you might want some songs for women, you might want this, you might want that. Knowing that when I have an artist play me what they have, I already know if I fit. I know what I want to give you, and I know that if it's going to fit, because you're solid on this particular song already, it already has that sound, so I have to, let me try to, dig in my bag and give you something else. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to understand the structure of an album. So having that experience really kind of helped me with my networking and, helped me as well as building with other artists.
Now we're gonna go in like a little bit more history, man. So can you name your childhood, teenager, and adult beatmaker superheroes, and go ahead and like tell us like why they were so important at those specific times in your life? And major key alert, no genre is off limits. My guy.
All right, this is an easy one. With childhood, off top, it was the Neptunes. Man, I had everything Neptunes. I had this little source. I used to get all the little instrumentals, and I had like CDs in my little CD book of just instrumentals, and I used to listen to them and study the hell out of them, like the structure of it, how things were panned out, all that stuff, and it really helped me now. And it's weird because I didn't know what I was doing back then. I thought I just like I might have thought maybe the song was trash, and I just liked the beat, so I wanted to listen to the beat. But now, like when I do that, I'm listening to, the reverb, like, oh, they got it so clean. Or sometimes like I'll listen to a song and I'll go back and find the sample, and just to see what they did to it, I find it fascinating. But yeah, back to the Neptunes. I mean, they stand out in my mind because that was like I said, they had their sound. Like you knew the Neptunes produced this song because I had a sound. And even though they had a sound, the beat still sounded different. And that was something I really respected with them. The next person I had, probably when I was a teenager, I found Jomybeats. I think he's from like Rhode Island or something. And I found him fascinating because he sampled beats, but he didn't play anything out. So he would just layer loops. Like he'd go dig up some vinyl, he would layer the loops and then put a drum break on it, and then that was the song. And those beats were crazy. He has an album called Hope Instrumentals. I think it's on Bandcamp now. It's not on DSPs. Look up that album, man. It's crazy. Like he's probably top 5 for me as far as for producers. So I learned a lot about him, about structuring songs and how to layer samples as well. As an adult, I gotta say it's a tie between Pete Rock, just for the boom bap side of me that loves sample flips and just how people can, work with those. And also with composing, it's Danger Hands. Like a lot of the work he did with Timbaland, and he did a song with Chris Brown called Till I Die. Man, that beat is fucking crazy. So those two artists have the biggest influence on me now. And another thing about Danger Hands is that's still another person who has their own sound. And once again, that's something that I really respect. And his sound choices are weird as shit sometimes. Like it'd be some weird sounds. I'm like, yo, I don't know what that is, but it fits perfectly in this beat. It'd be like a spring or something, and it fits. So that's something I've always respected about him.
Absolutely. Yo, the two people that you named, I'm looking them up right now. I'm listening to the Chris Brown Till I Die instrumental. Yo, it sounds like a Sonic the Hedgehog game, like he sampled Sonic or something like that, man. It sounds dope, but everybody has to have their own sound. That's one of the things that that people are that my guests always say is make sure you have your own sound. Yeah, we start to mimic those we appreciate and grew up with and stuff like that, but then eventually you have your own sound, and that's how people recognize you from everybody else when you stand out and create your own sound and use different things. I got people, there's people using applications that's making drum kits out of like fire engines, like Marcus Kincaid's got a fire engine, or fire truck sound pack. Like it's a bunch of people using different things to make sounds that you can just be different and stand out with, man. I know Decap uses different things. It's a whole bunch of people, man. But anyway, man, let's get into this next question, man, which is, I really wanted to highlight a couple of your albums, man. I know SFX is one of them, and then Coffee Breaks 2, which is your latest album. Both are crazy fire, by the way. What were your inspirations behind these dope projects, and then, how did they come together so beautifully? Because from the way that you, put it together, and then from the way you started to the way you ended, it's, you started dope, and then it ends dope. Coffee Breaks 1. SFX. What's it called? The very last track? Man, that shit was... man. That shit was fire, man. So tell us about that, man.
Always appreciate people listening to my music and enjoying it. That means the world to me. I knew off top I wanted Coffee Breaks to be 2 parts. I don't know if a lot of people know, but the theme of it is, drum breaks. Because I really didn't use them much before. I didn't understand the point of it. I understand when people got them to take drums out, but some people use them in the beat and, do stuff like that, and I just didn't get it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sit and mess with these and see what the hype is about, see what I can do with it. So that's where the idea of Coffee Breaks came from, because it just me experimenting, having fun, and figuring out how I can use this in a way that I enjoy. So while Volume 1 was me kind of getting an understanding of what they are and finding sources that had, drum breaks that I wanted to use and things like that, Volume 2 is pretty much me saying, all right, I got it. I get it now. You know what I'm saying? Volume 2 is probably one of the best projects I've done, period, as far as for mixing, composition, everything. I'm very impressed with it, which is rare, because usually when it's done, I still hear things I want to change, but I'm just like, it's time to let it go. But for this one, I was sitting on it for 2 months. I'm like, do I want to go back and change anything? And when I would listen to it, I'm like, no, I'm satisfied. And that meant a lot. That was very, surprising to me. Also, one thing about Volume 2 is that I was going through a lot of personal stuff. So while Volume 1 is a little bit more up-tempo and uplifting and more energetic, Volume 2 was a little dark. Because I lost a couple family members and some things like that. So that really reflected in the music. So the fact that I'm going through all these things and still finding time to make music when I can, and this is the product that came out of that. It's crazy to me. It's just weird how, you know, artists can turn a negative situation into something positive. Like, you know, I've noticed, you know, you hear interviews of artists going through heartbreak and things like that, and they make an amazing album. So it's kind of weird having that happen to me, where I went through, you know, death with my father and my brother, and I still was able to turn around and make something like this. It's weird. But when it comes to SFX, that was actually done due to me just having extra beats laying around. So I had a bunch of beats sitting in my hard drive that didn't really fit the mold of Coffee Breaks Volume 1, and I kind of started working on Volume 2, and it didn't fit that either. So I was just like, let me put these out, or I'm gonna sit on them. And one thing about beats is, you know, I can listen to a beat that's a year old and it can still be fire, but it doesn't compare to what I'm putting out now. So I've learned not to hold on to things too long. So yeah, I just was like, you know what? These have a similar sound. I'm gonna put them together on a project and put them out. And as much as an experiment as that album was, because I really started working with my SP at that time, so I didn't really, I don't know, I was just really messing around. That and Volume 2 are probably two of my favorite projects that I've done.
Thank you for your breakdown of SFX, and then also the key point in making sure that beat makers or music producers do not sit on beats. Don't just let them collect dust in your hard drive and just like not put it out to the world, man. That's one of the things that I think even the people that have been doing it for a long time always come back to and say, hey, I should have, you know what I mean? As soon as you make beats, put them together and put them out for the world. You know what I mean? That's more content for more people to recognize you from, but it's also people can see your growth from you putting out the music. And it's not just maybe one album every 6 months or 7 months and stuff like that. Yeah, I understand things take time and you want to put it out and roll it out and stuff like that. But I mean, if you got 2,000-3,000 beats on your hard drive and you only put out one album, come on. You know what I mean? Like, you owe it to yourself to put those beats out to the world, and you know what I mean? Let people hear you and hear your growth. You know what I mean? So, but one thing before we move on to the next question is I just want to say, may you find peace as you're going through this process of losing family members, man. You know, I can't say, you know, I knew them or anything like that, but I do wish you peace and understanding, and happiness during this time. And I think you processing it while you're putting this album together kind of helps you with the grieving process, which you don't. There's no timetable for that, so. Yeah, man. But you did an amazing job on Volume 2, man. So that shit is crazy, man. So, okay. Let's move on to the next question, which is, you know, you're currently based out of St. Paul, Minnesota, one of the twin cities in Minnesota. But what is the beat scene like in your specific area? And then, you know, how can, you know, my listeners or other people that, you know what I mean, that support beat makers and music producers, how can we support you and other beat makers in that area? And then go ahead and feel free to name some St. Paul or some Minnesota beat makers we should be on the lookout for as well.
The music scene in Minnesota has always been pretty good. I know that we have a lot of great acts up here. They have a lot of functions going on. For example, I know Urban Lights, they are in St. Paul off of University Avenue. They have, open mics, they have beatmaker competitions and stuff like that. So great resources for producers and artists to meet up and connect as well. But when it comes to other producers here, to be honest, I'm really in my own little bubble. There are some producers that, I grew up on, like POS and Laserbeak and DJ Abilities, that I've learned from. But there are also some that I've came across mainly through IG and word of mouth that really caught my ear, like Ace P or Ben Jomybeats. So as many, as much talent as we have up here, I'm still in the process of cracking that and kind of building my own little network and seeing what I can do.
Shout out to Ace Production and Ben Jomybeats, man. I'm definitely going to follow them from the Rec Show podcast page and then on IG and Twitter. But yeah, man, I understand, like, trying to create your own network. And that's what it's all about. You create your own network, build that up, and then you can connect with another network, make another, you know what I mean? That's how it works, man. So I get it, man. So beat makers, music producers, if you're listening, yo, man, that's one of the keys, man. And one way that I'm seeing that is with Bag Season Records is doing it. Flip a Beat Club is doing it. There's some other conglomerates, man, that's doing it as well. But yeah, man, I get it, yo. So, okay, last two questions, man. So what are your thoughts on how beat makers can, benefit from emerging tech such as Web3 and blockchain music compared to streaming services, which are not a bad way to go, but if you're trying to, live off of it, it's not really that way unless you're getting millions of streams every month and stuff like that. So, but then especially when it comes to creating an income stream, if people are doing it, creating music for that reason,
To be honest, man, I don't focus on the income aspect at this point. When I did, I felt like I was chasing the bag. I felt like I was forcing myself to do things and work with people I normally wouldn't because it was a placement or because, I could get exposure and things like that. That's one of the reasons I stopped. So when I came back in 2018, I made it a priority for me not to pursue music that way. I have a job I enjoy that supports me. I'm comfortable. So at this point, I make music because I enjoy it and because it gives me an outlet. Of course, I know of and can understand a lot of people who do create music as a source of income. The only thing I advise for them is to research, thoroughly into what they're doing. Whether it's BeatStars, whether it's, the blockchain or whatever, source you want to go to generate income. Just make sure you're smart about it. Make sure you're understanding what you're getting into. Make sure you understand the process and how it works. Make sure you understand how the money gets distributed to you. And you make sure you're getting your fair cut. There's things you want to look up, whether it's through YouTube videos or just articles online. Knowledge is key, especially when money is involved. You want to make sure that you're getting what's due to you. You want to make sure you're being treated fairly. So yeah, that's the only advice I can really offer in regards to that. For me personally, at this point, I'm content on just making music because I enjoy it and working with artists who I enjoy their music already and I feel like I can contribute something to their sound. I think that's kind of my lane at the moment. Things may change, things may not. I like that I have the option to really dictate how things go.
I get it. Having the option, man, to dictate and keeping that creative spirit because, looking at documentaries and stuff like that, I notice, beat makers or music producers when they, they start off, they having fun with it, and then when they grow up, grow in notoriety and stuff like that, and then it's chasing placements and chasing the bag and stuff like that, and it taints the creative spirit. So that's one thing that I have noticed watching documentaries and doing these interviews and stuff like that. So beat makers, music producers, keep your creative spirit. If you're trying to, monetize what you're doing, have balance. It's basically what it comes down to. Now, I'm just getting this from my fellow beat makers and music producers. This is just information that they always say, and it's repetitive, and that's what they always say. Keep it balanced. A balanced approach to it, all right? So, yeah, man, thank you, Jomybeats, for that info, and being so open and candid with your responses as well, man. I really appreciate that. So, all right, last question I got for you. Final thoughts. What should the internets look out for from Jomy, a.k.a. Jomybeats, in 2022? And then how can the internets tap into you and your music? And, go ahead, plug your socials, any projects you have coming out, which you did just have Coffee Breaks 2 just released. So everybody go stream that. Go support that on Bandcamp. All right? Support that on Bandcamp first, and then go stream that. And then any final thoughts that you may have, man?
I guess I want to start off by saying thank you. This has been a great experience for me, so I really want to make sure I thank, the Rec Show and Gldnmnd for this opportunity to speak with y'all and kind of, let people know a little bit more about me personally, because I really don't give too much personal information on social media like that. So this is an interesting situation for me to be in, and I really do enjoy it. As far as for what I have going on, of course, Coffee Breaks Volume 2 dropped August 18th, so that's out now on all DSPs. SFX is also available. I got music coming out probably, I think I have a single coming out September 8th with Lifted Lo-Fi called Delta. I also have an EP coming out. I'm working with Nonsense. Hopefully we have some music coming out. I'm trying to see if I think me and Bentley might have some stuff coming. There's a few artists here locally I'm trying to reach out to and see where I could get going. So you'll see a lot more collaborations with me towards the end of this year and going into next year. I might kind of relax on albums, but singles, man, you'll probably get one a month. So I'll still be around. I have no plans on stopping anytime soon. I'm definitely on IG and TikTok. I post weekly. So feel free to look me up, Jomybeats, or linktree.com/Jomybeats to get links to all my social media on there. But thank you guys for listening, and I really appreciate this, man.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure to have you on the show, man. So, y'all give it up for Jomy, a.k.a. Jomybeats. That's Jomy Beats on Instagram. Check him out on Twitter. Check him out. Check out his Bandcamp page, and then check him out on the streaming platforms as well, man. But support that Bandcamp page, all right? Because I'm a big supporter of Bandcamp, because I know that money is going towards back to them so they can create more beats, yo. That's what we love. You wanna send a message to say, hey, yo, make more beats? Go to the Bandcamp page, yo. Go to the Bandcamp page. Pay the money that they asking. It's an investment. Think about it like that, yo. It's an investment in the artist, in the beat maker, in the music producer, to create more of what they love to do, and then gonna get better and better. And then you get to reap the benefits of it. If people have subscription pages on Bandcamp, support it that way. I would rather give $5. I would rather give $10 every month to somebody that's doing their thing and creating soundscapes and beats that I enjoy every month, compared to maybe just a streaming service that you pick and choose and you listen to, but you're gonna get hotness from the people that you support on Bandcamp, man. So anyway, man, so once again, Thank you, Jomybeats, for being on the show. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. St. Paul, Minnesota, stand up. You already know what it is, man. It was a pleasure having you on. Y'all go. I'm going to leave a link to everything Jomybeats on the description of the show at the bottom, man. And another way you can support the show is click that support the show link, or go to my Bandcamp page and become a Bandcamp subscriber, man. So it's just a good look, man, and you definitely be one of the homies, man. So I appreciate that. So, hey, that's it for today, episode number 60. We gonna do it one more time, man. Yo, I got some good things lined up for the next few weeks, and I'm still, putting out the bat signal for my beat makers that I think are amazing and dope, and we're gonna keep rocking like that, man. So I appreciate y'all for listening to this point, and yeah, man, go ahead and share this on all your social medias and stuff like that, and we will be back next week, inshallah. You feel me? So enjoy y'all weekend. Replay this throughout the week, and I'll see y'all next week. All right? Peace and love, yo.
Represent every living person on the planet. The white lights are humans. And these are the mutants.
They tell like younger kids or other producers like that's cheating. You can't really be separate, but bro, like when it comes to this producing shit, you can do whatever you want.
You've been listening to the Rec Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Remember 3 things. Believe in your music. Take care of your mentals. Become the best version of yourself. Until the next one, Gldnmnd signing off. Peace and love, yo.
To be the best, you got to work overtime. To be the best, you got to work overtime.
These young boys getting better. This is not like the NBA when you can retire. Like this is, you have to keep going.